Let's pick up on some of this now and speak to Kate McElwee, who is Executive Director of the Women's Ordination Conference, a movement that promotes gender equity in the Catholic Church. Kate McElwee, thanks very much indeed for being with us here on BBC News. What do you believe his record was on women's rights, and particularly towards female Catholics?
I think the passing of Pope Francis is a profound loss for the Catholic Church, and while we mourn his loss, there are certain ways that he sort of fell short when it came to fully recognizing the dignity and equality of women. In some senses, he made incredible strides, elevating women to positions of leadership that had previously only been held by ordained men. During his pontificate, we saw women vote for the first time at the Vatican and assume high levels at Vatican offices. And yet when it came to the life of the church and the ecclesial life of the church and in ministry, Pope Francis seemed to be stuck, and he repeated the logic and theology of his predecessors, not able to open the doors fully to women in ordained ministries such as the diaconate or the priesthood.
I remember covering the synod, I can't remember exactly what year it was, 2022 I think, regarding the Amazon region, where there was discussion about whether they should allow women deacons in the Amazon, a slightly lower rank than priests. And then Pope Francis went against it, and he said that there should not be women deacons. So actually, were you in some ways disappointed by that he fell back on the more kind of traditional doctrinal conservatism, despite the kind of air of progressive modernity?
For many, it felt like a betrayal of the synodal process that Francis had championed, his own personal no to the question of women deacons. Yet, during this most recent synod in October of 2024, the question continued to be raised, and at the final document of that synod, the official magisterial document claims that that question is still open for discernment, and that's something that Pope Francis himself put his name on. And so we pray that that question continues to evolve, and the voices of women and Catholics around the world who are calling for this inclusion are heard.
And yet he made a couple of notable appointments, didn't he, here at the Vatican, of women who were put into fairly senior positions.
Exactly. We have a woman who is sort of the governor or the president of Vatican City State. A woman leads Vatican museums. Several women are undersecretaries or even prefects of Vatican dicasteries. These are roles that were only previously held by cardinals. And so in many ways, Pope Francis has changed the culture of the Vatican. It will look very different. It looks very different than the Vatican of 2013 when he was elected. And so we hope that these changes in culture really lead to more concrete structural changes, that women are more and more involved in the life and decision-making of the Church.
But are you worried now, Kate, about who will take the mantle from Pope Francis? Because, of course, there is a division even within the College of Cardinals who will elect his successor. There are the more conservative voices in opposition to the more liberal voices. So do you think that there could be a battle in terms of social rights and women's rights for the next person who will lead the Catholic Church?
Yeah, I think the question of women in the Catholic Church will be an inheritance of the next pontiff, whether they are in favor of it or not. It's a question that hasn't gone away. And so I certainly hope that the next pope is able to continue on the synodal path that Pope Francis invited us all to, and really encounter and listen to the voices of the people. But yeah, I'm not sure which direction the Church will go, but I do know that this question will remain.
And what, for you, Kate, will be your defining memory of watching this Pope, of your interactions with him, of your interactions with the Curia, the Vatican hierarchy that surrounded him and that was often beset by infighting, which he tried to resolve but often failed to do so?
I think I'll remember Pope Francis as a pope who was able to change his mind he not just was open to the world, but he was willing to encounter them and be able to be transformed. And I hope that that legacy of someone who's really willing to listen and accompany others, even in division, even in strife, he was able to listen. And so I hope that that model continues in our church.
Kate McElwee, Executive Director of the Women's Ordination Conference, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.